Weird is good.
Yeah.
We're live, Dr. Art.
Hi, everybody.
Dude, right? They didn't even give us the spinny thing that gives us a warning that we're going to go
No,
live.
it's just death, and it
bam.
started the counter at 5, and we're good to go.
Well, we're 3 minutes early. That's probably why. I was going to wait until we were on time.
They're like
the
these
spinny
people,
thing.
Yeah, these people don't go early. What are you doing? Yeah.
I have to fix the camera
again.
So it's got to go towards. It's got to go
towards me.
Towards you.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Oh. All right.
Yeah, good enough.
No. Let's be really.
Let's be really accurate with this. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
It's Fubar.
Fubar! What's happening, man? Bill McKay's right behind him. Terrence Seymour, Josh H. Nathan McCree. What's happening, Nathan?
What's happening, Nathan?
I took the worst pair of glasses I own. Like these things are literally. Try to see through those.
Oh God.
Yeah.
They're not even dirty.
They're just destroyed.
They're just
destroyed.
Packed.
Yeah. I don't know. I literally can't see the friggin' thing. So,
just take the one real bad one out and have one side.
Right. Close one eye at a time. Or at least I can see that I got to shave. My God, I'm a mess.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's do this. John Gregory, Roy Miller, Nathan Rickman, J. Russell Finch, Josh Homan.
Dude, we've already talked to Josh Homan.
What's on the to be?
Yes. Interdimensional lizard. Yes. Mexican Spec, what's happening? What's going on, guys? How is everybody tonight? It's Wednesday. Yeah.
It's Wednesday, and there's no rain, there's no bombs, there's no.
Not here, at least.
Not here, no.
No, we're relatively safe here in.
Yeah, it's quiet compared to the rest of the world. So.
Northern Murfreesboro, right?
Yeah.
The Northern Murfreesboro region is okay. Eastern Tennessee, man, geez, you guys, I feel so bad. I'm watching these videos and I was like, holy shit. It's ridiculous. I want to where is the National Guard and all of the helicopters and airdropping supplies?
Private people driving their helicopters dropping stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just watched a video about a guy with a private helicopter that they told him go away.
Really?
Yeah. So a guy goes there. He was from South Carolina, right? Goes up there with his kid and his helicopter, okay? Mm-hmm. And he finds a couple that's stranded, like in the middle of devastation, okay?
Yeah.
So he picks the woman up, drops her off where the rescue thing is set up,
mm-hmm.
okay? And he tells them, I'm going to go back and get the guy. And they're like, no, you're not. You have to get out of here.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, so he had left his son there too. So he takes his helicopter, he goes back, he picks up his son, and he took off. He left the guy there.
I would have picked up the guy anyway.
I would have picked up the guy anyway too, but that's beside the point. What kind of commie crazy shit is that? He should have shot him. He should have shot him. Just,
yeah.
Oh, you want me to help? Boof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or another casualty of the flood. But yeah, if you guys can do anything to help out there, you know what I mean? You see any GoFundMe's or anything like that pop up? Yeah, these people really need it.
It's a mess. There's whole towns that are just
gone, just absolutely gone. And it's not only are the towns gone, but all of the infrastructure in and out of the area is gone. So even if the town is still standing,
yeah, there's no food, there's no water, there's no bridges. Like Asheville, you can't get in or out of Asheville. It's impossible.
Yeah, and that's not exactly like a little, speck.
No, it's not like a little berg. It's
No, it's. But I want to know where all of the helicopters are, the National Guard, and airdropping this and that.
Hit the button, go reserve, you're activated. Yeah. Right?
I just somebody made a statement. They were like, not a freaking penny to any place on Earth until it looks like nothing ever happened in North Carolina.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's.
We're not interested in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has anybody checked on Ricky Smith in North Carolina?
No.
Mexican Spec saying that happened to a friend of mine after an earthquake in San Francisco. The cops threatened to arrest him if he helped anybody. See, this is what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah.
Of course, that would happen in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this table is really.
Yeah,
Yeah, what happened here?
I don't know. We engineered this when we put it together, and I think it's just aged out.
There was like no stability to begin with, and it's really gotten bad.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, you can't touch the table at all now.
Wait, I think it screws in. Is that what happens here? Yes. Okay.
Oh, just
Yeah.
base is just
There you go.
turning. All
Well,
right.
see, tech. That's what we
Yeah.
do. We do tech.
We do-
Sometimes we fix tables. Sometimes it's hot rods, and sometimes it's tables.
Abel, will Big Richard be driving to the hurricane-affected areas to drop off all kinds of water supplies? No. I would. I got plenty of vehicles to take shit if they would, not tell me I'm a communist and try to shoot me for dropping off water.
Chongo says he got his shirts and gum. Yeah, you're welcome, man. We still have some gum left too. So if any of you guys need gum, UncleTony'sGarage.com. Fubar just put the link to Dr. Art's merch.
Mm-hmm.
You want his Big Richard shirt?
Look at this. Very nice. Check out. Love.
Right, and then my merch. Put the link to my merch too. Thank you, Fubar.
And you still got Because I Be standing up.
I have a lot of these shirts, so I'm just wearing them out.
It's
like I'll never sell as many as I have. So yeah.
Forget laundry. Just give me an unwrap one for me, Kathy.
Well, I need room in my house. Is what it is. So it's like with all these freaking shirts.
It's
I have no
amazing.
place to sit. Yeah, it's like I got to wear them.
A corn maze of shirts.
That's good, cheap water, that Art.
Yeah.
We
got actually at Dollar General, we got $1 waters instead of $6 waters. It was amazing.
Buster Rail Garage is saying a lot of boots on the ground, many wonderful volunteers helping everywhere possible. Oh, I'm sure. I'm positive. But still, I mean, how do you take a guy that comes in there with a helicopter that's in the middle of saving two people and tell him to take a hike? That's what I want to know.
Charlton Zimmerman, I see Tennessee people are stocking up on toilet paper because of the dock workers strike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a freaking bad idea.
Well, the thing about the dock workers strike is it looks to me, I could be wrong, okay, and I'm Mr. Conspiracy, okay, right? But it looks to me like this is totally freaking orchestrated. The guy, the
guy with the gold chain,
spokesman for the longshoremen, right?
Yeah.
It's like, come on. It's like they actually picked a supervillain. Why didn't you just go all the way and use the Joker? You know
instead of Vinny Boombots with the chain.
Right, instead of Vinny Boombots, right? Why not just go all the way and have the Joker make the announcement? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks to me like they're creating a reason for other things that are happening in the economy. That's what it looks like to me. But either way,
distraction.
Don't look over here. Look over here. Oh, it's not our fault. Look, it's those pesky dock workers.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's things happening. But every day that it happens, every day that the strike goes, it's another $5 billion worth of lost revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sin too, because there's food rotting now. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You know,
and it's not as bad as the whole Southeast is fucked so far as mail and transportation and everything now.
Yeah.
Then there's be a shortage of stuff. I've had a package I was supposed to get freaking week ago is stuck somewhere, probably in an overturned flooded truck somewhere in Georgia. So it didn't make it past Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. But you know the funny thing is, American-made products are never subject to that kind of problem.
Yeah, weird.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's see. Abel D. Tony, if toilet paper is in short supply, at least you have tons of shirts to grab. Yes, exactly.
They're just starting over right before the election. Toilet paper shortage. Put a mask. That'll be next. The dock workers caused.
Joe K, the distraction is a distraction from the distraction. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Uh-huh.
You're absolutely right. Jerry Akbar, don't use self-checkout if you care about citizens. I mean, you got a point. I'm not going to argue with that.
No, I'm not a checkout professional. I like someone to do it for me.
Scott Kuhn, Cajun Navy to the rescue again. New Orleans had over 200 private aircraft rescuing people after Katrina with no in-air conditioning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that. I remember Katrina and the crazy rescue. But this is worse. I mean, Katrina was a worse storm, okay? But it really only affected a relatively small area, you know? This is up in the mountains if you're on the Gulf, right? There's seawalls, there's all sorts of things. They're used to it. Stuff on low-lying ground is built up higher and so on.
Yeah.
It's a thing. You expect a hurricane, right? But not when you're in the hills of North
Carolina,
or East Tennessee. You're not expecting that kind of
water,
right?
Yeah.
So this is like a whole different animal. Let's see. Shangri-La 73 El Dorado. I'm still waiting for my shirt. It's been a week. Shangri-La, there's a couple of different sizes that Kathy actually had to order, and they were late. Now, as far as I know, she's completely caught up. Like the last of the packages went out yesterday, so you should have it within the next day or two. Let's see. And then Tony's next video, flood recovery XJ for cheap. Academiciated. That's a crazy name. Yeah. I like that. Perfectly timed with the upcoming selection. Yes. The money printer going burr and the crypto bull run. Crypto bull run hasn't really happened yet. I don't think a bull run has happened in anything yet. It's coming. Whoa, it's coming. I'm loading up on crypto right now. Not that I believe in crypto, but it's a great speculative move, right? But yeah, the commodity bull is ready for blast off. Let's see. J. Russell Finch, how is Trump ever going to rebuild the car wreck that is the U.S. nowadays? He's not. He's not. He's not. It doesn't matter who gets in there. It honestly doesn't. Math is math. It's that simple. Math is math. Yeah. And nobody can rework, what's already been done. You know what I'm saying?
And you could try to stopping the bleeding is going to be awful tough.
What's on can we mention particular cryptos? Yeah, I'm in a lot of. I like the small ones. Some Bitcoin, but Shiba Inu, XRP, and Dogecoin. See, the thing is, it's like I was just talking. I'm just having this conversation. The thing is, yeah, it's much easier to double, triple, quadruple your money, right, with a smaller, stake like that. You see what I'm saying? So, but at any rate, I think XRP is really the thing that's going to go. You'll find out more about XRP when we're going to have the BRICS meeting on the 22nd.
Trump makes one shoe bigger. Which one goes forward? The small one.
Yes.
Always, always, always.
Yes. Thunderbird 68. Tony, where was your flood charger? It was a Katrina flood car. It came from. I didn't get it from Katrina. The guy I got it from picked it up. The Katrina brought it up to the Music City Mopar Club swap meet. It's about 12 years ago. I was going to buy it, and then a good friend of mine went and japped me, and he bought it. And we had a falling out, okay? And then he shows up at my door one day, and he says, if you really want it, you can have it. I says, I want it. So he dropped it off at my house, and we put it together. Academiciated pulse chain hex, the better Bitcoin. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a Bitcoin investor. I'm a Bitcoin speculator, right? I don't invest in anything that isn't tangible. I don't invest in anything that you can't actually hold in your hand. Like this, to me, this plastic bottle cap is worth far more than all the cryptocurrency on earth because I can actually touch this. But that's besides the point. Crypto is still an excellent speculative investment.
Rick from New York. Ever work on a DeLorean?
Yeah. I never liked those cars.
No, but buddy of mine, he's like the engineering type. And when they were like 3 years old, he went and got one, and he was all proud of me. He took me for riding it, and I'm like, well, this thing's horrible. It's got the little tiny windows. It sucks. It's slow. He's like, oh, it's stainless. I'm like, no, it's crap.
Somebody has to have a DeLorean and a Cybertruck parked in the same garage.
Oh, have to.
There's got to be a stainless freak out there that's just like,
Yeah.
you know? Todd Denio, welcome from Minnesota. Saw your guy on the debate last night, man. I haven't caught any live feeds for a while. Well, welcome back, brother.
Welcome back. Yeah, he didn't do so well, did he?
Ooh, Waltz.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture? He's got a big family, right?
Yeah.
He's got a big family, and they had a family photo, a group photo, and they were all wearing Trump shirts.
Yeah. Well.
Kay, for example, today people are saying that Bank of America accounts have been zeroed out. Do you know it? Yes, this is true, but again, see, it's just a glitch. It'll come back. It'll come back. Not that I have any long-term faith in B of A, but no, that's just a glitch.
I have catalytic converters and tubs of copper for my nest egg.
Yes.
Not a bad idea.
Where is Kiwi? Kiwi had an appointment with his gynecologist this afternoon, so he's having some problems, and I'm sure he'll be back. Let's see. Miss Cleo and Uncle Fester. God help us if they steal another one. I thought that was great. I watched the whole thing happen. And I'm like, I knew it was going to happen.
Mm.
So I stayed up overnight and I was watching the results come in. Like, I see what you did there.
Rick from New York, thanks for the super chat. As a DeLorean owner, the cyber comparison make me sick.
But they're both, they're stainless, man. It's like, how could you not?
And they're kind of the same shape.
They have a lot. They have a lot in common.
We're not dogging on your Rick. We're not dogging on your DeLorean.
No, I'm glad you have it. I hope you love it. But it's not my cup of tea. I just never really liked the cars. Vincent 10145. Another problem. Did you see the EVs and the Florida flood saltwater? They didn't see that coming. Oh no! How could you possibly see that coming? Electric cars being submerged in salt water. How could anybody? Right? How can anybody that lives on the Florida freaking coast? Honestly, anybody who owns one of them freaking things on the coast, they deserve it. They I don't care what happened to them. The house burned down. I don't give a shit. If you're that stunad, okay, that you could take an electric freaking car and park it in a flood-prone area with salt water, you deserve whatever you got. You deserve whatever you got.
Not only your house is flooded, now it's on fire. Yeah.
John Mace, thank you for the super chat, John. Does rocker ratio have much of an effect? I missed that. Okay. Does rocker ratio have an effect considering the cam duration stays the same regardless of the lift from the increased lift? From the lift. Right. Does rocker ratio have much of an effect? Yeah. Considering cam duration stays the same regardless of added lift from the lift increase. Well, you're increasing the lift.
But does duration change?
The actual duration numbers don't change, but the profile does change.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you're going to increase lift by do the math, okay? But the duration or the opening and closing rate, either side of the nose of the cam is going to change. So yes. It's not going to change the actual numbers, but it'll change the way the numbers are applied. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, the ramp increases. Yeah.
Mexican spec. Stupid people will still buy electric saltwater flood cars and trucks at Copart. Please.
Mm-hmm.
I know, honestly, I think that it's going to be over the next weeks and months that these things are going to be lighting off. I don't think it's going to be just,
Oh, once that salt starts corroding there and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and yeah. Kearney, does any tips on cleaning out the fuel tank that's been sitting unused for 10 years?
Without moving it from the car.
So without removing it from the car?
No, I just had bad luck doing that with a tank that sat for about 10 years with the Red X with Mission Improbable. And I pulled it out, okay, and I filled it with industrial strength vinegar and dragged it around to shake it up and everything else. And you know what? It didn't help. It didn't help. It got rid of the immediate rust, and I flushed it out. But I guess once it started, you know what I mean? Different metals are, so I guess it just depends on the quality of the metal that they used. And on the XJ, no, I got like maybe, 2 days worth of driving out of it.
Shit the bed.
And then it just started clogging the sock again, because once that metal started rusting, it needed to be sealed somehow. So get
Can you
another
get
tank.
replacement tanks for 72 satellite?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's would probably save you tons of headache and woe, and
Yeah.
just and they're probably what, $150 maybe.
Ever hear this one? The piston travels slightly faster on the lower half of crank rotation than the upper part. Otherwise, a four-cylinder would balance out perfect. Okay, I think I could see how that might be possible. All right. So when you look at it logically, you say no, right? Maximum piston speed is always going to be 90-degree past. So you would think that the stroke is equal, right? The rod length is equal. So no matter what, you're going to have 0 at top dead, maximum at 90, and then 0 at 180. Okay. That's thinking about it logically. But now we have to think about where the pin is in relation to the piston. So, yes, piston speed could be, okay, speaking only of the head of the top of the piston, not the pin, but speaking only of the surface of the piston, yes, the speed could very well be different, a different rate of acceleration or deceleration, a different rate of acceleration than a different rate of deceleration than acceleration, because of the relationship between the pin. Because, okay, so now on the upstroke, the pin is below the head of the piston, right? It's okay. It's still below, but the relationship is changing now as it comes to bounce. So does that make sense?
Yeah, because you got that little rock moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not just the rock moment, right? The head of, it would be so slight. It would be so slight, it would almost be unmeasurable. All right, let's talk about something else, because that just jammed up my brain. Let's see.
There was a good one here.
Yeah.
Attila 429. Have a Carter 4429s with an inline filter. Is the small one and the inlet necessary?
Small one, an inlet. I'm trying to picture that.
It's got like a little screen or something.
No, I'd have to. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, get that.
Go ahead. Okay. Moving on while we research. Glenn Nickerson, my 41 Willys coupe has the original gas tank. Never any rust or leaks.
Different qualities of metal.
Yeah, yeah. You got the pre-World War II metal.
Oh, come on. Carter, 4429.
Are there any engines with dual overhead cams but only 2 valves per cylinder?
With dual overhead cams?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of either.
Yeah, that's the carburetor I thought it was. I can't picture what. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. The little screen that they put in the inlet. Yeah, it's unnecessary. I know what you're talking about now. It took me a minute. No, you don't need that. Let's see. Oh, let's just stare at this.
Yeah.
Let's pretend we're on that other Wednesday Night Live tech show.
Yeah.
So let's just stare.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll stay.
How are your feet?
They're good. Can we talk about something that doesn't matter?
Birthday cake.
Bagels.
I'm hurt.
Good night.
Just in case you wanted to see what was going on the other channel.
Thunderbird 1986. Tony and Art, have any of you used a mechanical fuel pump with a built-in return line? Yes. Just put in a Carter in my and excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, you took yes. You mean like it's like a vapor separator line. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Cadillacs, Oldsmobiles, a lot of them had that.
Joe K, can you elaborate on the turning point of a roll cage? Do you think a car built crosses a certain line once you have to put a roll cage in it? I draw the line at a roll cage. Like that's my line in the sand. If it needs a roll cage, that's why I stop and let other people do what they're going to do. I draw the line. It's just a simple roll bar. So yeah, I guess it means different things to different people.
You know, once you have to put in a cage, then you're committed to the freaking car.
It's just a different animal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people will draw the line at a parachute. You know what I mean? It's like, so because the further, the more, what's the word I'm looking for? The milestones that you hit, so your first milestone is you got to put a roll bar in it.
Okay.
Then your next milestone is that you have to put a cage in it. And then your next milestone is you got to put a chute on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, I draw the line at cage.
Just roll bar, and if I got
roll bar and that's it. Glenn Nickerson, his line in the sand happens when he drinks too much soda. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
What's the best way without buying a new control arm to take out a flared end bushing?
Patience. Just patience. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can do it, but probably the best way is cut through it. Knock out the inner sleeve and the rubber, and then you've got just the outer shell. And then take a Sawzall or whatever you can get in there and just cut the shell. And don't worry about if you cut into the arm a little bit. You're not going to hurt
It's not a big deal. Then, once you get the cut, you can
collapse it
and pull it out.
Take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take that one, Chevy Hemi. That's for you. I'm going to get that other water.
Okay.
I'm thirsty.
Hey guys, how hard is it to reach Stoich Lambada in a 1980 engine? LOL. I'm having fun with all that.
Stoich Lambada. I know him. He owes me money.
He owes me money. Stoich Lambada. He used the money for a furniture store. It's not hard, but you have to throw all your 80s technology away to do it. Basically. And once you do, it's a 1980s engine. It's going to make one more horsepower from 150. So who gives a shit?
Always stay to the fat side.
Yeah.
Give up a little. Give up a little power for a lot of safety.
Bob's Chop Shop. Buddy just sent me a picture of a LA 318. It looks like it's got the industrial style water pump. Never seen that on a LA motor.
Yeah. Could be marine or industrial. Thunderbird 1968. How do rear coils stack up against leaf springs in drag racing? They're two completely different things. So, okay, when you're saying coil spring, you're not really saying coil spring. You're saying a link suspension, because a link suspension generally uses coil springs to hold it up. You could also have a link suspension with leaf springs, but I know what you're saying. Ultimately, a coil spring type of setup, right? A link suspension is better, okay, because it's more tunable, and there's less movement. So when you put sudden movement to a spring, the spring has an arch, okay, and no matter what you do, no matter how you look at it, that arch is going to move around. So basically, the whole effort pushing the car forward from the rear end is all hinged on the arch or the forward section of the leaf spring. It's going to distort. Torque is going to trying to bend it. The car rising, which is another, we want to talk about rising. All of those things make it a relatively inferior setup when you're talking about real power. Okay, so real power over 1,000 horsepower, trans brake, slicks, right, or drag radials. You're talking about a seriously biting car. Well, in that case, coil springs every friggin' time, right? Or link suspension every time. But lower power cars, so full-bodied, full weight, 3,000 to 4,000 pounds, 3 to like 600 or 700 friggin' horsepower. A leaf spring car is easier to work with. It'll deliver. And there are leaf spring cars out there that run deep into the fours, like 4.0, 14s. There's a dog called the tooth jerker that's way down there on a leaf spring. But that's really, you're fighting an uphill battle with that. That's the kind of thing you only do it to say, look what I did on leaf springs. So, but yeah, slower cars, I feel leaf springs are a better option, right? Especially Mopar style symmetrical springs, asymmetrical springs. But ultimately, a coil spring or a coil spring link type suspension is better. Did I answer that, or did I just fucking run off on it?
No, you stayed on your. The
Did I?
the ramble was
I don't
forward.
know.
Yeah, the ramble was forward. It was
Okay.
Yeah, because I have both, but I don't have traction issues in either. Like the Falcon on the ladder bars, that thing hooks in mud,
Yeah.
And the Ranger's so light, the regular leaf springs with the little bars underneath is all it needs.
Hey, Gins. Yeah, ladder bars work fine with big horsepower. Yes. Well, I consider a ladder bar a link style suspension.
Mm-hmm.
A ladder bar is a 3-link, as opposed to a 4-link.
Was Zonda to be the E-Type Jaguar inline 6s are dual overhead cam with 2 valves.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there are others too. I'm sure there are others. Oh, the old Datsun inline 6 was the same way, no?
The 240s?
Not the original ones, not the 240s, but the 260s. Wasn't that one of the changes that they made? They went from. No, I don't know. Somebody knows engines better than I do. Patrick Sullivan. Oh no, I'm sorry. Not Patrick Sullivan. Cogito Grovic. Oh Jesus, these names. Sorry, bro. I know your mom didn't name you that. What does that mean?
Cognito Government X.
Okay.
XEO.
Is $250 a decent price for a complete parts bike with a C's engine? Depends what it is. It depends what it is. I mean, if it's a '69 CB 750 with the sandcast engine. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, if
a
it's
broken case is worth that much. If it's like it's just a typical typical bike, probably not.
Mhm.
Um, Bar. For an old car, is it better to gap new plugs as they are from the factory, or by what's on the box? Okay, or by what's in the service manual? I would err on the side of the service manual, providing that the rest of the ignition system is
the way that it was
the way the
made.
service manual intended it to be. I mean, generally speaking, if in doubt, gap it at 35, right? That 35 is going to cover so much ground, okay? You only go to really smaller gaps when you've got super ignition, you know what I mean? And almost actually bigger or smaller gaps. But 35, you almost can never go wrong with that.
Yeah, most car radius 35. You'd be fine.
The ones that have really big gaps, like the HEI systems that had like 50 and 60 and 70 thousandths of an inch gaps, those were to fire super lean mixtures. Like those are an exception. But like I said, 35 is the perfect default plug gap, if you ask me.
Craig Simpson, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Craig.
Good electric fuel pump for 70s cars with a V8.
The Carter 50 gallon an hour, I think, is probably the most friendly pump. It's the one that's been around. It's unchanged for the last 60 friggin' years. It's just that's my default. Gonna just drive it on the street electric fuel pump. The Carter 50 GPH. Yeah.
Yeah, or Holly Blue, but if you can find an older Carter, the newer ones are probably.
The Blue is more of a race pump, and the Blue doesn't have any suction capabilities.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
The Blue's got to get mounted below the level
Below
of
the
fuel in
tank,
the tank and all that.
down,
Right?
yeah.
Let's see. I gap plugs at 35. I gapped them at 60 as recommended, and it ran crappy. J Mank just generally sent $4.99.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And for the street, okay. So talk about Holly pumps. If you do want to use a Holly pump, use the red pump, not the blue pump. The blue pump needs an external regulator. The red pump is the same exact pump. It's the same body. I've taken them both apart, side by side, next to each other. It's the same body. It's the same motor, the same windings, the same gear, the same vanes. Okay, same everything. The only difference is the red pump is internally regulated to 7 psi, 6.5, 7 psi, where the blue pump is externally regulated. So if it's gonna be a street, just drive it down the road kind of thing, go with the red pump, and then you won't need an external regulator.
He said just a thanks for that. So, okay, great.
Thank you. Dude, only 64 likes.
Oh,
What
well,
did you do wrong? Why don't these people like you, Dr. Art?
because I got up this morning. If it would have been a Dr. Art Memorial Edition, you would have 300 likes by now. But I woke up. Sorry. What would be a good carburetor? Holy car mods. What would be a good carburetor for a 440? Would a stock be better for fuel mileage?
Yeah, stock would definitely be better for fuel mileage. Stock on those, they came with 6.25 AVSs and then AFBs and AVSs, and then later on thermal cars. Actually, they had 560 something Hollies, 565 CFM Hollies for 2 years. Anyway, yeah, they ran a bunch of different moderately sized carburetors that are really kind of too small. If you ask me, the ultimate carburetor for a street-driven 440 is an 800 Edelbrock. No, Benito Delgado, it's not a doobie, it's a cigarette. I roll my own.
You can only cash out once. Well, all right. Dio. Currently stuck in a parking lot. Back in my 69 Valiant, 100 won't turn over. It turns over, but it feels like it won't ignite. I think it's the alternator because the battery seems fine.
No, Dio. The alternator has nothing to do with it running. The alternator only charges the battery or runs the electrical system once the engine is running. It starts off the battery. Won't turn over. When you say it won't turn over, let's help Dio.
Will the crank not start or not crank?
Yeah, what does it do when you turn the key? We'll keep going back for Dio.
Get you out of the parking lot and get you home.
Get him out of the parking lot.
Yeah, he's probably got a bucket full of chicken on the seat next to him.
Scoop is saying, does that Valiant have a ballast resistor? No, that is a bad answer. You know why? Because the ballast resistor won't keep it from starting. The ballast resistor will keep it from running. You know you got a bad ballast resistor when you turn the key, the engine starts, and then when you let go of the key, it stalls. That's a sign of a bad ballast resistor. So you can discount that.
Adam Williams. Am I crazy to want to build a high RPM 273 A-body street and strip car?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my plan for the 67 notchback Barracuda I just picked up.
So the 273 is a torque motor. I know, but it's a torque motor. It's not really an RPM motor. And it's not a very good torque motor. It's a good, pleasant, happy driver. If you want to build a really higher RPM motor, you need more surface area to the piston. You'd be much better off trying to make power with a 340, right? Because you think about this, okay? The 273 has the same stroke as a 340 and has the same rod length as a 340, okay? The only difference is the diameter of the piston, okay? And the weight is the same. The way Chrysler balanced those engines out, right, was the bottom end of the piston, right? The pistons on a 273 are ridiculously heavy, okay? But the rods are the same, right? The crank is the same. So you're really better off if you're trying to build a high RPM engine, build a 340. Miles ahead in the long run.
Can you punch that 273 out or just get a 340?
No, the 273 casting, all of the Chrysler blocks from that era are designed to take a maximum of 60 thousandths overbore, which is why when you order a small block Mopar head gasket set, regardless of what the application is, the firing is at 4.100.
That's where the firing is. Yeah.
Right? They're all at 4. So you order for a 273, and the firing is way, right? And that's because the biggest possible bore diameter for a small block Mopar is a 60 over 340,
okay, which
is 4,100. So yes. So the 273, the most you can go out with that is 60 thousandths. The only exception to the overboring is the early poly blocks, the 318 poly blocks. There's rumors of those going out to the 340 size. So I've never actually seen it done myself, but I know I've heard of it done. So
Dio, I turn the key and it revs and falls off. I haven't kept my foot on the floor when I try it though.
Okay. Then all right, yes. Then you do have a ballast resistor problem. Okay. So what you need to do now is find the ballast resistor, go under the hood, find the ballast resistor, I look up a Google picture of what the freaking thing looks like. It's going to be on the firewall, okay? And take a piece of wire or a paper clip, anything you get your hands on, right? Did you even have paper clips anymore? That's from the old days.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's a paper clip? Get a piece of wire and jump those two out. Take them off the ballast resistor and connect them together. Start it up and drive it home. You'll be fine. And then change the ballast resistor.
Change the ballast just when
Right.
you get home. Yeah, because if you just leave it, it'll run until the point's burnt out.
Right.
But it's good enough to get you home.
Right.
And then speaking of 340s.
We better get a like for that, Dio.
Yeah. Speaking of 340s, when I drove Big Richard, because it was a little low on trans fluid, it was revving up high. It sounded beautiful.
Yeah.
It's got that, what I refer to is like an E-body with a hot 340. It's got that kind of that rap, high RPM rap to the exhaust.
Yep.
You know, the Chrysler sound?
Yep.
Oh, the motor sounded
It was a
beautiful.
long rod motor.
Yeah, and it built it tight, and it sounded beautiful. I was very happy.
Mexican spec. Yes, we're earning the likes. We're doing everything we
Yes.
can. We got to get the
Mhm.
likes up.
Yep, pulling people out of parking lots.
Yeah, lots of people are saying keeping ballast resistor on board for just an emergency. Well, but he's new to this, so he doesn't know that.
Yeah. He learned a valuable skill that he can teach to others when we're long gone.
Yes. Oh, Rocco, that's a good. He's saying, can Foobar or Zero post a link to Tony's video on hot wiring a car? That would be helpful. I did a video on how to steal an old Mopar. So
It's pretty easy.
yeah, I did it in the parking lot with my own car, of course, right? But I went through the whole demonstration on how you could just walk up and drive away with any 1960s Mopar in like under a minute with no tools, no nothing. Professor, again, it's pretty hard to find 340 blocks. He's saying 318s are a more practical choice. I love 318s, man.
Mhm.
I love 318s. That slight difference in bore.
What's Alan saying here?
Art, be like Dickie. Oh, be likey. Dickie isn't here to tell me. Do something likey. Yes. Well, that's Olive speaking in some kind of code to you.
All right.
You guys got something going on there?
Some kind of new
Olive?
secret language.
You flirting with Dr. Art? Like falling off a bike, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
one thing the one time you should have been filming.
When you
Yeah.
backflip.
And then face planted. Yeah.
Yes.
2 minutes later. Yeah.
That was awesome. Let's see. Chevy Hemi 318s rock. They do. Andrew Button, I've been using my 340 every day. It's not a 318. I'm not knocking 340s. I
No,
love 340s,
yeah.
but I'm just saying 318s are just so much. You have free 318. How many free 318s do you want? You know?
Exactly. Put up a sign in your yard. We'll take any 318. You'll have 20 by the end of the week.
You know, so you can step on them that much harder and not care.
Yeah, and if you don't know, you can tell all your friends it's a 340, and they'll never know the difference.
Yeah. Well, see, that's like I like bottle rocket. That's why I love that basic combination because it's the ultimate. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Bang! Oh, yeah.
How much nitrous? Throw all the nitrous at it. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
just sweep the motor up, throw another one in. It doesn't
Mhm.
cost you anything. Rocco, did I see the propane motor installed? Yes, it's sitting in there. It's been sitting in there. As soon as the weather turns, I'm stuck here. So I said in the last video, right? I've just been motorcycling. It's been my thing this summer. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? But I've just been riding motorcycles. It's all I really want to do. So I've been neglecting everything here. I've been playing hooky. But the season is coming to an end. It's going to get chilly soon. And I'll be stuck here in the shop and I'll be forced to work on things. So we'll have lots of progress coming.
Professor Gins bought a perfect 318 motorhome short block last week for $150.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Hemi, Tony, the propane engine needs a turbo. I agree with you, but I have some funky ideas to do with that car. So just give me a little bit. Andrew Button, 340s are louder than 318s in most cases. The first thing everybody notices about my car is the sound. I don't know exactly why 340s sound different. No, they don't. I mean, it's your imagination. Probably, I'll tell you. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what. Right. Most 340s are of the higher compression variety. Most 318s are of the lower compression variety. So a 10 1/4 to 1 340 is going to have definitely more of a snap to it than an 8 to 1 318. So if that's the case, yes, absolutely. But in compression, everything else being equal, no, no, they're going to sound exactly the same. Carnitas, is a blown 318 a good idea? Worth the cost? Yes.
Yes.
Blow it, put nitrous on it, put nitrous and a blower, and then turbocharge that, and just do everything to it. Send everything into it, right? The thing is so ridiculously tough. Honestly, you got to see, if you're not familiar with the parts that are inside of a 318, you got to take one apart. It's like, yes, throw everything you can at it, break it, and then build another one for another $100.
Because yeah, turbos are so cheap and 318s are so cheap. You could build 500 horsepower for like a nickel, you know. And oh, Dio. All right, got the car working. Kept my foot on the floor and it started. However, the dash instruments are not working. Alternators leaning towards D and the blinkers don't work.
Okay, well, leaning towards D is sign of a bad alternator or bad voltage regulator, one or the other. And I'm sure you can YouTube a video, search a YouTube video on how to check. Just jump out the field on the alternator, and if it charges, and it's the regulator, and if it doesn't charge, then it's the alternator.
Mm-hmm. But get it home, yeah.
Yeah.
If you got low voltage now, just get it home.
Holy car mods! I always wondered how 440s would do turbocharger, if it would be worth doing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lower compression 440. I mean, most of them are like 8 to 1, right? A lower compression 440 is like the perfect thing to turbocharge.
A love boost.
Yeah. You just got to be careful. Once you're over like 10 pounds of boost, then ring gaps start to become an issue, because the factory ring gap, the ring gets hot, butt up against itself, warp and break a piston. A high mileage 318, you know what I mean? Like something like this got 150,000 miles on it is probably perfect to throw a bunch of boost at, because you have enough ring wear and bore wear that the gaps are going to open up by default, and there's less of a chance of it. So yeah, an old sloppy 340 is probably an old sloppy 440 is probably an ultimate candidate for boost. Rocco, touch a screwdriver to the center of the back of the alternator. If it's charging, it'll be magnetic. No, I've seen a magnetic without that. I know what you're talking about, but it doesn't always work. I know what I have found is that if you have an alternator that's had the belt slipping a lot, it'll magnetize the body, everything inside of it. The pulley will become magnetized, and then by default, everything in between becomes magnetized. I don't know how that works. But I literally just had it happen on Scribble's Dakota, because the belt was slipping. And when I went to loosen the nut that holds it in place, the wrench I was holding got stuck to the pulley. Yeah. So,
couple things. Dio, super chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Dio.
He got good. And then here's one for you. Guys, do you remember the issue of Mopar Action in the 90s? where Richard Erdeberg
Yeah, Ehrenberg.
busted Dulcer's chops on a Mopar front end modification that he felt was unsafe.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what. I don't talk to either of those guys. I don't like either of those guys. So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Chevy Hemi, I noticed that too. Magnetism from the rear bearing, maybe. I don't know how that happens, but if you've got an alternator that the belt has been slipping on, I mean, like, for a while, right? Not just an occasional slip. You'll find that the pulley becomes magnetized. I don't know why that is. Mexican Spec is saying electric fuel pumps are made to push, not pull. Generally speaking, yeah, generally, because like the clacker style fuel pumps, those are all meant to pull, right? But your higher output fuel pumps, they're not meant to pull. They're meant to be gravity fed. Why are some afraid of multi-testers? Not that complicated. Are you afraid of multi-testers?
No.
No, I'm not either, but I just grab a test light. I mean, there are reasons to use a multi-tester, but just for the most part, I just grab a test light, and you can kind of like, I know what 12 volts looks like. I know what 4 volts looks like. You know what I mean? It's like, but if you test and plug wires and resistance and shit like that, yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Like rubbing your hair against a balloon. That's possible. That's possible.
Joe Cade, Pontiac 400 versus 455. Any significant differences besides displacement, non-HO engines?
No. Not familiar enough. Not familiar enough. Scott Kuhn, a tap on the regulator with a screwdriver handle. I've got a few weeks out of one, a bad one that way. If you're talking about the Mopar mechanical voltage regulators, there's two screws that hold the cover on. Take the two screws off, take the cover off, right? Look at the inside of the cap, right? And you'll see a burn mark, right? Where you see that burn mark, look where it corresponds on the actual voltage regulator, and you'll find a tiny little wire, a single strand copper wire that's burnt, okay? And just take a piece of wire, any piece of wire, right? And solder it to join the two ends that wire broke off of. And if you're on the road and you can't solder, just take some wire or anything and loop it around the 2 points, right? That wire would normally be connecting, and drive it down the road. Bro, what's up, fellas? Just chimed in now. All right, car talk time. Where's Winnie?
Winnie, maybe?
Winnie, my puppy? Winnie, she's home. Zero saying, like human hair width, copper wire keeps the voltage regulator going. Yep, That's the one. Zero, Kathy sent out your package today. Yes, Winnie only makes appearances on Sunday nights. That's her agent will only let me put her on Sunday nights.
The override for Wednesday is too much.
What's that?
The override doesn't pencil?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Yes, yes, Zero. She's sending you the remainder of the scumbag gum. You'll have plenty of it. So let's see. Mopar Man 78, my 82 Dodge D150 charges at 14.5 or more, but never over 15 on the gauge. Bought a new voltage regulator from O'Reilly's and started overcharging. Pegged at 16 on the gauge. Put the old one back in. Yeah. I know. They're eating the kangaroos.
They're eating the dingoes. They're eating the kangaroos.
Carnitas, any junkyard diff upgrades would fit 8 1/4 round? Yes, I'm actually hunting for one right now. And just Google. It's just too much to rumble through here. Just Google 8 1/4 interchange, right? And you'll see the years and the models of the interchange. But it's like 1969 when they introduced the rear, right up until like 2000 and something. All kinds of Jeep applications and Dakotas and Durango. The 8 1/4 was widely used. Benito, Uncle Tony Sicilian. I'm from all over the map. Please. They're from everywhere. Somebody's talking about going 30 over when bore air requires it unless it's wanting the extra displacement. You always want to try to, yeah. Okay. So yeah. That's the thing. Okay. Anytime you overbore an engine, you're increasing its likelihood of running hot. You're also weakening the deck of the block, right? Because the cylinder walls, the deck on a conventional cast iron engine, cast iron V8, the deck and the main saddles are held together with the cylinder walls. So the thinner the cylinder wall, the less support there is through the center of the block for the deck. So more chance to run into potential sealing issues, more chances for the block to distort. So you want to overbore, when it's absolutely necessary. Most machine shops automatically take a 30 thousandths cut, okay? Only because it's a standard thing, right? It's like, rather than making a tailored cut, and also piston availability has a lot to do with it too. But rather than making a tailored cut, they just go to an automatic 30. So
default
the
30
default
over.
30 over, right?
Yeah.
And every production engine is designed to take a 30 over bore. But it's not something you want to do if you don't have to. If you're going thieving for the extra 2 cubic inches, 3 cubic inches, it's not the way to do it.
No. Jamie's here.
Where's Jamie?
Jamie, Dead God's Garage.
Get out of here. There he is.
There he is. And I got your package today, Jamie, in the mail.
Oh, what did he say?
Secret stuff.
He doesn't send me shit. He sends me nothing.
I talked to him on the phone. And
I talked to him on the phone.
well, sorry.
That's all right.
I'll give you the empty box when I'm done.
That's fine. That's no big deal. I don't care. Let's see. Zero just put up a link to Dr. Art's channel, which Jamie clearly likes. You refuse to let me send you a Christmas present. I know, Jamie. I'm just busting chops. Let's see. He's made his bed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Scott Kuhn, aftermarket regulators are good for getting you home. Yeah.
Yeah.
The new Mopar regulator will charge full output at idle at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. They really engineered that stuff, man. They really the OE Chrysler stuff, especially from that so late '60s, early '70s. It's just awesome.
Let me ask you a question about that.
Sure.
Because I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I fucked up.
Oh no.
Because I have the '68 Dodge pickup truck, but the motor and trans is out of a '73 something. So when I'm buying all these parts that were never there,
Right.
I buy a '73 alternator. So that's
Not going to work.
It's wired different than because the '68's got one pin and a ground.
You have two fields.
Yeah.
All right. Take one of those fields and ground it to the body of the alternator.
Oh, just ground the second field to the alternator.
Yeah, ground one of the fields and then run the other field to the regulator.
Okay. Yeah, because that was part of the smoke that came out when it was all patched up to have them work that way.
But here's a question that I have. So I've been doing that modification that we're talking about here now for, I don't know, 40 something years. Okay. It's just automatically. Jamie, you know things. Jamie, is there a preferred field to ground out of those two fields? Because I just randomly ground whichever one is not conveniently hit by the wire that goes to the regulator. Is there a preferred field post to ground on those later alternators? Speed and Demon has a Valley Girl accent. Well, that's isn't that special?
That's special. Oh my God.
Professor Gins, isn't it a lot easier to just put in a one-wire GM alternator? Bro, I would rather have my toes friggin' amputated before I crossbreed a GM alternator into one of my Mopars. And I am not exaggerating even a little bit. If I had a choice between no alternator and I've got to stop every 25 miles and steal a battery to keep going, I will do that before I put a GM alternator in my Mopar.
So there.
And here's the sad and crazy part. I'm not stretching that one bit. I'm being completely sincere.
I don't think it matters, but always ground the lower further from the passenger one.
Okay.
Well, mine's kind of on there upside down because the battery's in the bottom. So I'll ground the top one and see what happens.
Yeah, Jamie's agreeing. Jamie's agreeing, right?
Mm.
One wire alternators. Yeah, no. And Zero just put up a link to Dead Dodge Garage, the best Mopar channel on all of YouTube. Period. The end. Jamie is saying my parents drove a 67 Fury for years when they got together and literally traveled the West Coast with an extension cord and a battery charger because it didn't charge and Dad couldn't fix it. That's great.
That's why he is like he is.
Todd, Daniel is saying, I have not noticed any difference between which one is grounded. No, neither have I. But that's not to say that there isn't a preferred way. So that's why I asked. And if anybody would know, it would be Jamie. Though Tony would put a Ford generator on. No. Well, actually, okay. So the Ford generator would be the same as the one that Chrysler used to use back in the day. But no, the alternators are different.
Who's okay? Parker Russell. What's this? That you being a bus driver at 16?
I wasn't a bus driver. I stole a bus. Long story, but that started me on the path to where I am today. Mark Royer, I'm a big block Chevy fan. I still like Uncle Tony. Mark, I'm a huge big block Chevy fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't do many videos on them, but I actually love those engines.
I just googled your name, so the story is funny. So apparently, there's a
Yeah.
yeah.
I was building my first car. It was a '69 Charger, and I wanted a supercharger for it. I wanted a blower on the car. I was 16 years old. I found that the buses that the city, that they were used at the school, had superchargers on them, and like I walked past one while the driver was checking the oil or doing whatever, and I looked down in the air and I was like, sure as shit, it had a blower on it. So I waited for the right opportunity, and I stole one of the buses. And the school cop who knew me saw me driving it down the road, pulled me over, and that was the end of me in formal education. So I was 16 years old. Jamie's saying one of those blowers is sitting on the floor next to me now. Yeah, but mine would have had a better story, bro. For the record, it had a V6. Was it a V6?
Yeah, a 671 blower. Yeah.
Well, the V6, which is different than the rate. So the V style blowers don't mount the way regular blower, so the superchargers that we use in cars are derived from the straight six. So they have an 11-inch by 11-inch 8-bolt pattern, 4 on each side. Okay, those are for straight engines. V engines, V6s, V8s, all of them, right, have lugs. There's no flange on the bottom of the blower for bolts to go in. The bottom of the blower tapers in like this, and there are 4 lugs on the side of the blower that use long bolts and suck the blower down to the intake manifold.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the difference between a 671 and a V671.
So you would have put this big thing contraption on your.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. I was 16. You know what I mean? It wasn't until later on that I realized, well, I would have had a, but it sure looked like a blower. It had ribs and stuff. I was, that's a blower.
Yeah.
It's taking this bus. Yeah. It was New York City. It was the 70s. It was just, watch Taxi Driver, okay? Raymond Cabal used to rebuild 6V92 and 6V71 superchargers on buses in our old injector room. Yep. Scoop reminds me of the Hot Rod movie where they stole the Hemi out of the cop car for the 41 Willies. I saw that when it was on TV. It was so silly. Yeah. Scott Kuhn, one-wire alternators tend to drain batteries if the car isn't run regularly. Weak diode? Transfer makes a unit to convert Mopar alternators to internal regulation. What's the problem with an external regulator? Why do people hate external regulators? I find an external regulator to be a highly desirable thing because it's easier to change when it goes bad, right? Think about it.
Yeah.
Wheelie King, what's happening, man? You got your 2-for-1 teas yesterday. Excellent. Thanks, UT and Kathy Bananas. She worked her tail off. Todd Denio, GM V671 blowers. Yeah.
Can't find it.
I'll tell you what. Let me find a picture of one so that we can show the guys who don't know what we're talking about. Oh yeah. Okay.
Chris Freemesser got his T-shirts. It was called Hot Rod. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's.
Images. Okay, so these are showing all regular 6s. Okay, this is a dirty one. Rotate, auto rotate, there we go.
Will one of those blowers fit on your 4.0? It's kind of a.
Okay, so you guys are all familiar with what a blower looks like, right? So that's a V-style blower. And so you see, instead of having the 4 evenly spaced ribs that you would have on a 671, it's got those closely spaced ones. And in between those closely spaced ones goes a long bolt that holds that thing down in the valley of a V-style Detroit, Detroit, a blower, a diesel. So the ones that we usually see that have that 11 by 11 8-bolt pattern, those would actually bolt to the side of a diesel. An inline engine. Jerry Akbar, no Alley Pond Park? I don't know what Alley Pond Park is. What about ghost motorcycles? I don't know about them either. What's Alley Pond Park?
I didn't. Yeah, it was.
Holy Comars, random question. Do you think dual exhaust is better than an X-pipe exhaust? Well, I mean, X-pipe exhaust is by default a dual exhaust. So you have you've got 3 different variations of a dual exhaust. Okay. Just simple dual exhaust, 1 pipe from each side. Simple, okay? Then you've got the H pipe. The H pipe balances the pulses between the 2 and it helps smooth flow. And then you've got the X pipe, and the X pipe in theory helps scavenge one bank where it cross scavenges. And that supposedly is good for a couple of horsepower, but it makes it sound like shit. So I hate the sound of an X-pipe exhaust.
You can tell it, especially like the
Mustangs.
the Mustang guys, yeah. Like,
oh, please, I hate that. Alley Pond Park is the 2nd largest public park in Queens. Oh, see, I didn't know that. I'm from Staten Island. Scoop, the Z pipe just confuses the engine. Gives us saying it's also a lot more work to make an X pipe. Well, I mean, they sell X pipe,
kits,
kits, but
catback kits, but yeah,
they just sound so hard. I just hate the sound of a friggin' X pipe.
Dio update. I arrived home, and thanks to everyone. Admittedly, I had this exact same thing happen to me last night, but the car worked this morning. However, blinkers, white bringer still don't work. So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah, you made it home, bud. Yeah. We saved 1 soul tonight.
Yes. Mopar man, even Harley started running an H-pipe system on their exhaust to help. Well, I'll tell you what, I do have an H-pipe on my 99 Sportster. And yeah, I couldn't tell you that it actually makes a performance improvement. It does even out. It gives the exhaust a smoother kind of sound, which is either good or bad. You know what I mean? I kind of like it.
Joe K, are you familiar with exhaust addicts in Nashville?
I'm not.
No, never heard of them.
Let's see. What's on there? Are the 340 high power exhaust manifolds worth finding? Scuttles. Are they worth they worth the money? Probably not. Probably not. Just get yourself a set of headers. Cheap headers is better than the best exhaust manifolds. If you're worried about performance,
Yeah, aren't those 340s just a little farther away from the block?
they're bigger diameter. They're bigger diameter, and they have a smoother flow to them, right? They're larger capacity, but they don't do jack for scavenging. There's no scavenging benefit.
It's still a big tube.
It's still just a big tube. So yeah, you'll pick up a couple of horsepower on the high end, but there's no scavenging benefits. So you'll never see anything in the low end or in the mid range. If anything, they may hurt the low end. Let's see.
I mean, when I was homeless, I'd go to the airport, comfort stranded trailers, buy drinks, hear their story.
Well, maybe if you didn't spend all your money drinking at the airport, you could have had a place to live. Oh.
Yeah. Maybe she was just consoling travelers so she can get free drinks at the airport.
Well, that's possible too.
Yeah.
Gins is saying, I was just researching for early A-body manifolds, expensive and hard to find. Dude, stainless shorties, 175. Listen, right? If you're gonna do headers at all on an early A-body, fender well. Just do fender wells. Trust me when I tell you, there's such a friggin' nightmare on an early A-body. The later A-body is a completely different animal. 67 and up, you get any B-body header will fit in there. Not the best, but they'll fit. But the early A-body, no.
Oh, like scribbles? Forget it.
Scribbles, yeah.
Yeah.
Fender wells. Just fender wells if you got to put headers on it. If not, just be content with
What you
stock.
got? Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie is agreeing. Get the fender wells or don't bother.
Mhm.
There are chassis headers for early A now. They've always been, but they're so bad to work with. Yeah, it's just just bad, just bad. The main could Burlock 6940 LT 429 with H pipe exhaust. Yeah, that would have had an H pipe exhaust from the factory.
Mm-hmm.
Ford, I think, was the first to do the H pipes. You go back to the 50s on Fords and H pipes. Russ Peter derelicts. Tony saw something about Smokey Enoch knurling the skirts of brand new pistons. Reason was given to improve ring seal. Well, if you knurl the big end of the piston, or the skirts of the piston, I should say, to within reason. Like, now, he's not talking about a knurling job, right? But he's talking about just enough so that there's not an interference fit, but it reduces the amount of rocking that the piston is going to see during its cycling. And the less it rocks, so you remember when the piston rocks, it automatically cocks the ring a little bit. So you're reducing the surface area of the ring that's in contact with the cylinder wall anytime there's a distortion there. So that's what he was going for. And that's literally looking for the last hundredth of, you know what I'm saying? That's the difference between like 685 and 686 horsepower, right? That's what that is. Rob's Classics. Do you suggest the Chevy Ram horns or headers? Oh, headers.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you using the car for? What are you using the car for? Is it a cruiser? You know what I'm saying? Right? You want something that's just no aggravation, just you never have to tighten anything, you never have to deal with it. There's nothing wrong with those Ram horns. But if you're looking for performance in any degree, yes, headers. Rust beater derelicts. So the trade-off is long skirt for less piston lock versus short skirt is less drag. Yeah, more or less. But again, so minute. Like literally, okay, so minute. Like you, me, everybody in this chat will never be looking to build an engine to the level where those things actually do make a difference, where there's a tangible difference, right? That's just coming from a whole nother place, whole other place. Pick one, Dr. Art.
I've been looking to pick one. It's they're just kibitzing back and forth about.
They are. They're enjoying their
Yeah.
conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Olive is talking about her religion. Okay.
Yeah, she's active tonight. She's wound up.
Mexican Spec saying, what are the likes up to now? 119? That's it? Oh, Jesus. I don't know about you, but
You know what's
I'm crushed.
Well, you know what's going to happen.
I just want to flip this table over and just
go home.
storm out of here.
If I could go home.
Go home. Oh, okay, yeah. Now we're getting the sympathy likes, 127, but it's not because they really like us. It's just because they feel bad.
They should feel bad.
But do you really want sympathy likes? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take them. I'll take anything.
I'm thinking sympathy super chat also, you know.
Sympathy super chats are fun. Zero's put up a link to Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab, where you can follow with the latest adventure. Oh, look, yeah, 133, 130, 134, yes. Oh, I feel so much better. My ego is like, holy comrades, we like you guys. We like you guys too. Okay, Mike. All right, go easy, guys. Don't overwhelm us with likes because it'll go right to my head. It'll go right to my head. Don't do that.
And then you're gonna have to do it week after week after.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna hit the supermarket on the way home, and I'm gonna be walking around. Do you know who I am? Do you know how many likes I get? No, so don't hold off now. No more likes because it'll go right to my head. Rust bead and derelicts. Advantage of the ram horns over headers on a small block Chevy. Anytime I put long tubes on a small block Chevy, needs a heat shield for the starter. Otherwise, heat soak kills the starter. Okay. Firefly, has either of you guys used a tow bar setting for a tow alignment? Have you?
Guys used it.
I have not.
Tow bar setting for tow bar.
Quack attack. Got to do the hearts now.
Yeah.
Spitfire Mike, if you beg the viewers for likes, then you'll get a lot more. Yeah, but that's not, no, honestly, the reason I even bring it up is because it has to do with YouTube. YouTube goes by reactions. They go by the number of comments, they go by the number of likes. And it doesn't have to be a like. You can throw a dislike on there too. It doesn't make any difference. It's interaction. So the more interaction there is, the more YouTube shares, a video or a stream or anything like that. So that's the only reason I bring it up.
Here's a good question from months ago. Tony, did you ever get your chicken fried bacon?
No, I did not.
You're still sad about it, aren't you?
I mean, all of those likes kind of offset my crushing disappointment of not having a chicken fried bacon.
You know what? I might try that tomorrow. Just to throw something in the works, because Thursday is a good day for.
I saw Kathy bought bacon yesterday, so maybe I'll try that.
It was on sale.
Bacon on sale.
Bacon was on sale at Kroger. It's usually like $8, and they had it for $2.99 with your little Kroger card.
No fooling.
Yeah, the thick stuff. Yeah, I was like, I grabbed like 4 of them.
I like it. I get it from GFS. GFS has got the best deal in bacon.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I don't go to those fancy stores like you do.
GFS is not fancy. It's kind of scumbaggy, like a little bit.
I don't know. Okay.
You know the place on Thompson Lane? Yeah, Gordon Food Service.
Oh, I thought they just sold like knives and stuff.
No. They got a whole meat department.
Really?
I was buying beef tenderloins there, right? Whole beef tenderloins for $45.
Really?
Yeah. Before the now the last one I bought was like $130.
Right.
But
that Gordon Food Service, they have food there. I thought they
yeah.
were just like restaurant supplies and knives and
no.
spatulas.
No. They got a lot of food in there.
Oh, I'm going
Yep.
tomorrow. Okay.
Mary Clayton, are there any specific engines you haven't wrenched on yet that you might want to in the future? That's a good question. That's a good question. Honestly, bro, you got to understand, right? I'm doing this, I'm turning wrenches since the 1970s. Oh, it's hard to think of anything I haven't touched at one time or another that I would have any desire to. So off the top of my head, no, I can't think of anything.
The only thing I would want to that I haven't done yet is like the Series 1 straight sixes out of an XKE Jag.
Yeah, I've never worked on one of those either.
I think that would just be cool.
Yeah.
If you had somebody there that told you what the hell everything is on that thing, because I'm sure it's different.
You know what I'd like to work on? An old Offie, like an IndyCar motor.
Ah.
The one that the head is part of the block and everything goes assembled from underneath.
Yeah.
I'd like to work on one of those. Just to
see what's inside.
Just to have it apart. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I did plenty of boxer engines.
Clayton's Toolbox. Does an open 14-inch K&N air filter work okay sticking out of the hood, or should it be covered for best performance? Does cause too much turbulence over the carb at speed. It depends on the height, right? Because you got a boundary layer there, and the boundary layer is going to vary from car to car, from speed to speed. If that air filter is just poking up over the top of the hood, let's say 2 or 3 inches max. No, you're not going to find any turbulence.
Yeah, it's perfect because you get colder air, but it's not turbulent.
Right. You'll get colder air. Once you get above there, then yeah, you're going to have circulation issues. So I would enclose it somehow. Yeah, excuse me. That was an honest yawn.
It's one of them
really
days.
yawn.
Yeah.
Chris Freemesser, why not just use a tape measure and measure the distance between the treads on the front and the back of the tires? Well, the problem with that is that you can't necessarily get
consistent readings.
Right. Like for instance, measuring behind the wheel, you could to get an accurate measurement, it has to be at the central end of the tire. Okay. But how can you get an accurate measurement at the central end of the tire when you've got a whole car behind it? So you know what I mean? You go to take a measurement from the center of the wheel. You can't go across the back. There's the whole engine and there's a chassis and everything else in between. So you have to go lower. Mm-hmm. And when you go lower, you have a different measurement than you would from the center. So that's the problem with making measurements like that.
I'd like to use the face of the rib if possible, and then about a straight edge or a bar or whatever you have that's not bent, and then about shoebox height off the ground.
Okay.
And that seems to be, you can get it super close that way.
Firefly caster and camber change toe. Yes. Mm-hmm. Ride height affects these too. Yes. Mm-hmm. But the question was about making measurements with a tape measure. And like I said, you can't, the you can't get an accurate measurement with a tape measure when you can't go to the center line of the tire, the center line of the wheel. Let's see. Rocco saying a piece of angle bolted to the hub flange, wheel off.
Yeah.
But it's still, how,
You still got a car in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay, there it goes. Yeah.
Let's see.
Showman 910 had to go back and watch that video on repairing a cracked block after finding a crack in my old 425 today. It joins the center freeze plug to the right plug and goes about halfway to the left plug.
V it out and give it a shot. You've honestly got nothing to lose.
Not at this point, yeah.
Yeah. You've got nothing to lose, and it'll probably work for you. Scoop says he was disguising himself as a mod. It didn't work. You can't fool the mods here.
Did they have like a Mexican spec rubber mask to put on or something like that? I have a question for you.
Yes.
Has your favorite troll showed his head lately, Mr. Cabral?
No, he's stopped.
Because I haven't seen him do anything for. He must have had to get a job or something.
No, he makes videos. Oh, he still makes videos. He just doesn't make them about me anymore.
Oh, he finally gave up.
I don't know, but Brian or one of Brian's guys, why doesn't he make videos about me anymore? Right? Because he did this for years. For years, every day he woke up first thing in the morning and made a video about me. He doesn't do it anymore. There has to be somebody in here who knows Brian. I want to know what I did that he doesn't want to make freaking videos about me anymore. He makes videos about this guy named Jabba now.
Okay.
I have no idea who this is.
Maybe his med switched and then he's Jabba.
I don't know. Does Uncle Brian have a? Yes, it's some guy named Jabba. It was begging for life to turn Cabral off on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jabba some slob with a 57 Chevy. Yeah. Okay.
Holy Carmiles, Uncle Lenny, do you guys like NASCAR? Do you like NASCAR?
I used to, and this came up. Went way deep in a conversation with a buddy of mine on this the other day.
You're going to say exactly the same thing I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Okay. When they were cars, never mind the garish paint jobs and all that kind of stuff. Like, mid 80s. The 90s killed it for me.
Okay.
It was okay. But like the past, say, 20 years, they're just blobs. They don't even look like cars. But like the old NASCARs, like when they were raced like Grand Prix and Monte Carlos and, it was actual stock cars. It was much more exciting because you're like, I have that kind of car outside. If I drop it down and put white, it kind of looks like a NASCAR. Now it's just, I have a Taurus that's, who gives a shit?
So for me, okay, technically, and like I was never into NASCAR when I was a kid, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I respected it. It was on, and you watch the Daytona 500 and all that stuff, right? Back in like 1969, 1970, 71, 72, 73.
Mm-hmm.
And I very distinctly remember like how, just raw it was. It was good, right?
Yeah, it was a man's sport.
But then drag racing, my life just became drag racing.
Mm-hmm.
So NASCAR was just silly to me. So then Dale Earnhardt happened. Okay. Mm-hmm. I guess right around like 1980, 82,
Yeah,
81,
somewhere
82,
there.
like that. Okay.
Yeah, that era.
Dale Earnhardt happened. And I didn't become a NASCAR fan. I became a Dale Earnhardt fan. Okay. And I watched all these friggin' races. You know what I mean?
It had nothing to do with Chevy or nothing. It was just him and
Just
the
him.
dirty shit he would do.
Right. Just I was a dedicated Dale Earnhardt fanboy. You know what I'm saying? And then he died. And that was it. I lost all interest in anything that goes around in a circle.
Yeah, it's about the same time they just.
Does anybody else have that same sentiment? I thought that's what he was going to say. Does anybody else have that same? It's just like boxing, right? So like my grandfather, on my mother's side, right, Johnny Y. Okay, he was a character. He was an interesting character, but he was a prize fighter, and he fought Jake LaMotta, lost to Jake LaMotta, and he managed Rocky Graziano. So as I was a kid, I was surrounded by boxing and stuff like that, but I wasn't really very much into it. Then Mike Tyson came along.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and I became the world's biggest Mike Tyson fan. I mean, I don't care what's going on. Tyson's fighting, I'm watching the fight, right? And I remember very distinctly, people used to bitch, it's only going to last a minute and 31 seconds. And I was like, I hope it only lasts 45 seconds. Because as somebody who's did drag racing, it's like, I don't care how long it lasts.
Fight, yeah.
He was a wrecking machine. He was just, he come out there wearing no socks and shit, just, pow, and it's over. You know what I mean? It was like, yes.
Well, right, because at that time, there was just cable. There was no internet. So you had to buy the fights. So we get 4 or 5 buddies together, buy pizza. We get there 3 hours early, have some beer, because we knew the fight was only going to be a minute. It wasn't about that, But the same thing, yeah, it was exciting when Earnhardt and Wallace and all those guys were racing, and then it just turned out.
Yeah, I find that it's usually just a personality that I'll dial into that'll make me interested in the sport, and then once that personality is gone, it's just like over. I lost so much money on that Tyson fight, the last one.
Oh,
right? Oh please! I don't remember who he fought. I lost so much money on that one.
Oh, you threw the house on him?
Yeah. You know the thing about Tyson too. I tell you what, right? So he was an amazing fighter, okay, and then he went down the toilet, and it was like, oh God, what a shame. There was all kinds of stuff going on. His life was a mess. His personal life was a mess. But then he got it together, okay. And I look at that guy now, and he's still right. Like there's something about Mike Tyson, right? He's been all over the map, but there's something I have so much respect for that guy.
Well, he was the killer. He was the number one guy forever.
But it wasn't just that, right? Because so after he lost the fight, and he said because he just became too like he lost the edge. Okay, he became too confident, right? Overconfident.
Okay.
Right, and then he had the thing with his old lady. They arrested him for beating his old lady. There was all kinds of ugly shit going on, right?
Right.
And I was like,
Robin, give me
really
fuck me up.
To this guy.
Yeah.
That's when he got the face tattoo and all this other shit, right? But then you see him, he like he got his shit together. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, he's somebody to really look up to. He's somebody who's been all over the map. You know what I mean? And I have nothing but the utmost respect for what he's become and how he is.
He had tigers in his house.
Yes. Yeah, Rocco, Tyson is a tiger in a world full of house cats. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Holy Carmods, Mike Tyson would be interested in meeting in person. Yes, he's one of the few people I would really like to meet.
Mexican Spec, what years did you live in Vegas? I think I talked about that with him before, but I can't remember.
Barry Cuda saying NASCAR is more interesting with Shane Van Gisbergen. But you know what? The cars, it's changed completely. You go back to the Earnhardt era, with the Monte Carlo SSs and shit like that. It was like you can identify with the cars. Who the hell knows what it is that they drive right now? I have no interest in it, But I could say the same thing about drag racing. Okay, they could take they could move the U.S. Nationals, okay, from Indianapolis to my driveway, and I'd probably be in the backyard playing frisbee with the dog. That's how much interest I have in professional drag racing anymore. So. I remember talking about NASCAR. So like the first person I ever saw killed was on live TV when I was like 7 years old,
Okay.
and it was on I guess was it the Wide World of Sports? I don't know. It was a live coverage of one of the races from Daytona.
Okay. Yeah, probably had to be ABC's Wide World of Sports, the only place that usually got that stuff.
So I don't remember the guy's name, but he hit the wall. Okay. Then got hit by another car, and it took the whole nose of the car off. So you saw him on the TV. He was just sitting in the car, spinning around. Like, there's nothing in front, like the firewall, like the dashboard, and everything was gone. And he gets plowed by another car.
Oh, just head on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I was a kid. But I don't know, for some reason that sticks in my mind from, like, you talk about NASCAR, and for some reason that just.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis Racer 66 Charger. Yeah, what was that movie? Spin Out, I think it was. Zero, you checking out? We'll see you Sunday, brother man. Thank you.
See you.
Speedway. Yeah, that was it. But didn't he do one called Spin Out too?
What was?
What's that now?
Rocco. Important tip for Vegas: never take off your watch and toss it across the room. If you pick up abroad, the dressers are screwed to the walls, and you'll need to buy a new watch.
Transfers. I'm lost on that.
He picks up a co-host,
Right.
takes it back to the room. They're getting ready to get busy. You take your watch and you throw it to the dresser, and it goes. It's gone.
Why would it not go in the dresser?
It went across the top of the dresser and to the back. But the dressers are like bolted to the floor of the wall.
Oh, okay. Well, you go in there with a coat hanger and fish out.
Yeah, depending on the watch. Bill McKyska.
Thank you for the super chat, Bill. Tony, if I remember right, I think you're talking about the Don McTavish crash in 1969. That might be it.
How could he? That's like.
Because that's the brain trust we have here. That's the brain trust that we have.
I suppose when you have 600 brains working all at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's only 200 at the moment, but.
That's still.
Right, Mexicans say you can't move the dresser to get the watch back. I get it now. I didn't understand that at first. Stevie B is not throwing his ball of a. Joe K, why did the 80s GM G bodies have so much front bumper protrusion ahead of the front wheels? I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like the Grand Prix were the worst. I don't know, just the way they built them.
Yeah, and those safety big 5 mile an hour bullshit bumpers, and yeah.
Holy Car Mods. Are there any events you guys like to go to at drag strips, like Night Under Fire, things like that?
I'd like to go to a gasser event, like the Southeast.
Southeast Gassers,
Gassers,
yeah, that could be fun. That could be fun.
But it's like this year, it was so damn hot, and now it's finally getting to the season before we notice the fucking tracks are closed. You know, it's a weird season this year.
When it comes to shows, right? You have to understand something. I'm very jaded because I literally grew up at Englishtown. Okay, so Vinnie Knapp was probably the greatest promoter in the history of drag racing, and I was fortunate enough to work for him many times. Okay, Vinnie Knapp would book in the most incredible shows. 16 nitro funny cars, 8 alcohol funny cars, 2 Mountain Motor Pro stockers, wheelie cars, jet cars, all of this on a Wednesday night, run it all off in 2 hours. I saw the most incredible friggin' shows. The Leaning Tower of Death, Benny the Bomb, who was an acquaintance of mine, and like just you name it, I seen it. It was just crazy. He had these shows once a month, every month, either on a Wednesday, usually Wednesday nights, but they would have on Sunday afternoons too. So I got to see everything you could possibly imagine, every act that was in drag racing during the middle 70s and the early 80s, like the glory days of it. I got to see all of it. And then later on, I got to participate in it because I was with a lot of different match race fuel cars. So, I mean, again, like Union Grove, we go up to Union Grove for the World Series. I'm sorry, the Olympics of drag racing, Cordova for the World Series of drag racing. 3 days of nothing but exhibition cars and craziness and insanity, right? So I'm jaded. I'm really jaded. And like, there's really nothing you could put on a drag strip these days that would make me say, oh, I got to go see that. Because I've seen the rocket go-karts and the wheelie car tug of war and you name it, I've seen it, and it was just amazing. And then I got to be part of the circus. Firefly's talking about the fuel injection spider. Oh, the G and the Vortec. Yeah. I hated those things.
Snap.
Yeah, please.
Snap.
To the dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get for a while. You couldn't get any of those parts for the auto parts. So you had any problem with one of them spider setups, you right to the dealer and get bent over for like more than a freaking car was worth. Russ Peter Derelicts, when I was a teenager, Dad took us to Gateway in St. Louis to see one of those peroxide rocket dragsters run. I knew Slammin' Sammy Miller. Slammin' Sammy Miller still to this day he's the world's quickest accelerating human. He's got the acceleration record on land, sea, and in air, okay? And on ice, right? And did I ever tell you about Slammin' Sammy Miller?
No.
So Sammy, his family had a construction company, right? Miller Construction Company in New Jersey, okay? And he ran a fuel funny car, okay? This is like in 73, 72, 73, 74, like that. And he had a couple of fires. And one of the fires was really specifically bad.
Okay.
And I say no more than that, okay? But just think about the worst thing that could happen to you in a fire, right?
Yeah, okay.
Happened to Sammy.
Okay.
So when he got all recovered, he decided that he didn't want to sit behind a nitro motor anymore, that he was going to go build a hydrogen peroxide rocket.
Because those are so much safer.
Because other people had been racing, like Paul and Murphy had been running a hydrogen peroxide rocket. There were a few of them, okay? Russell Mendez, who crashed his hydrogen peroxide rocket at Gainesville, and I was friends with one of the guys who was there as the cleanup crew, and they literally hosed him off the guard wall.
Oh, there was left of him.
There wasn't what was left of him. They had
mist.
The hose off the guard. Right, red mist. That's all he was. So, at any rate, Sammy decides he's going to build a rocket-powered funny car, okay? And he does, called the Vanishing Point, right? And the first time I seen this thing was before I knew him. I met him later on when I worked for the Petosa Brothers, right? So this is years before I got to know him. So Vinny booked him into one of the Wednesday night, Crazy 80s Night of Thrills, whatever it was. And we had seen jet cars and shit. That was a common thing. But what's a rocket car going to do?
It's a whole different thing.
Oh, Jesus, this thing was fucking insane. So we're sitting in the stands, right? They wheel this thing out. It doesn't make a sound, right? It's dead quiet. And they're taking forever to get this. I'm a kid, like I'm 17. I'm sitting in the stands, okay? And they're taking forever to get this thing lined up because they got like a line sight out there. You know, like what they do surveying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're aiming this car, and we're like, what's going on with this? And then they take the Christmas tree out of the ground, okay? And they move it out of the way. And they clear everything behind the car. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
So then the announcer says, well, we're going to count down from, there's no Christmas tree. So we're going to count down from 5. When we hit, 1 or 0, he's gone. So the crowd counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then there's a pause. And then it's gone. Okay? And then it's gone. And then it's gone. So this thing accelerated so quickly from on the hit. It created this optical illusion that the car was going like this, okay?
Because it was so fast, your brain couldn't keep.
And then it was quiet, and then all of a sudden, like the car goes past you like this, and then it's like the stand starts shaking. It's like the wrath of God. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, right? And that was Sammy's thing. That was his deal. Okay. Yeah, he was the only thing I've ever seen in my life that made a fuel funny car look silly. And I don't remember what ET ran, but then you find out the details of this. So the hydrogen peroxide that they use is pure hydrogen peroxide. You pour it on concrete, and the concrete burns. Okay, right. He built his own rocket, a titanium canister, right? And it was a small little thing, like the tailpipe was like that big, okay? Mm-hmm. And it had a silver nickel screen in it. And when you spray the hydrogen peroxide under pressure against the silver nickel screen, it creates the most violent chemical reaction known to man. And it makes like tens of thousands of pounds of thrust instantaneously. Just amazing. The car, they had to line him up because when he hits the throttle on this thing or throws the lever, okay, he blacks out from the G-forces. And the car only had enough fuel to go about 300 feet under power. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the way, it was coasting. And then when he would get towards the finish line, he would come out of it and pull the chutes and still run in the force at over 300 miles an hour. This was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. Am I boring you guys with this story? Is this like too much? I just gotta finish this. I just gotta finish it. So the government now finds out that Sammy's holding this car around like on a ramp truck and shit with these containers of hydrogen peroxide just bouncing around down the interstate, right? Yeah. So the government finds out about this and they're like, wait a minute, no. You can't be hauling this stuff out on the road. So they made it illegal to be purchased here in this country. Mm-hmm. So Sammy says, fine. So he goes to England, where they can, and Sweden, all these other countries, where it's like, have all the hydrogen peroxide you want. Mm-hmm. And so he started setting all these. He built a boat. He built a sled. He built all kinds of things, and he got in the Guinness Book of World Record as the world's quickest human. Now, in the meantime, he's become the world's foremost authority on hydrogen peroxide rockets. Okay? Like now he's a government recognized expert on the hydrogen peroxide rocket. This guy, he drives a backhoe for his family. I'm serious. This is what he does for a living. He drives a backhoe for his family's construction company. But he's the world's leading expert on hydrogen peroxide rockets. So he has this brainstorm where he says there's a bunch of oil wells, that are going dry, okay? Mm-hmm. Or they're getting to the point that they can't pump the oil out, but there's still oil in there, like in crevices and stuff like that. So Sammy has this idea to build this giant hydrogen peroxide rocket and point it down into the well and blow the oil out the other side. So they build this giant hydrogen peroxide rocket. And they bring it out, I believe it was in Texas, and they point this thing into an oil well. Sammy loads it up, pulls the pin, and that's all there was.
That's
They
it.
never found enough of them to bury.
It just
That was it.
with that pressure, you got to go somewhere, and it just went in the dirt and just came back up and boom.
Slamming Sammy Miller.
Well, that brings us to look what time it is.
Oh my God. Oh, I burned down a lot of time. I'm sorry if I got sidetracked on that, but you know, if I don't tell these stories, I don't want to freaking die with them. All right. So, at any rate, John, thank you for the super
Thanks,
chat.
John.
So yes, I don't even know what they're talking about now. We're gonna pull a pin because it's been wow,
2 hours.
over 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, applied force. That's right. Nacto, thank you for the super chat. If you were gone tomorrow, what words would you leave behind for the car community? That boiled down to the essence of the message of your writings and videos. Oh, dude, that is so freaking deep.
He's going to keep you up all night.
Well, he sent me a super chat,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked a very straightforward question. So I have to
Address this.
address this. What words would I leave behind for the car community to boil down the essence of the message of your writings and videos? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a really tough one. And like it's a serious question, and that's why I don't want to just spit out an answer. So I can't. But I tell you what, Noctua, I am going to think about that, and I will respond to that on the next live, because that's something I really have to think about. And like I said, I take a question like that too seriously to just spit out some answer. Thank you for asking me. Okay, this is sketchy, even by my standards. All right, guys. Yes. So, Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab. What do you got going on, Dr. Art?
I got some finishing work on the Ranger. It's got about a half a video in there, and then I got Big Richard up on the hoist, and we're going to walk through rewiring taillights and all that kind of, watching the paint dry stuff, but it's got to get done.
Now listen, the headlights in the Ranger.
Yes.
Do you have good hardware holding those things in?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, I don't have to worry about the headlights. It's the taillights from you sucking so bad behind me are going to pull my taillights right off the back of my truck.
I'm worried about pulling those headlights out, bro. I don't want to see you running over broken glass.
You were so done.
So just make sure you got good stainless hardware and shit holding, maybe even safety wire them in place. So just because he and I are racing his Ranger, does that thing even have a name? It's not worthy of a name, is it? I don't think so. This Red Ranger without a name against Bottle Rocket. November 8th is the date for that. So Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab and Dr. Hot Rod's Stuff.com for his shirts, his merch and stuff like that.
Yep.
Go over there. Jamie was in here before. I've always got to plug Jamie's channel. The best Mopar channel on all of YouTube, Dead Dodge Garage. Our awesome mods, Zero, checked out. Thank you, Zero. Fubar, the always amazing Fubar, the Mexican spec guys. Thank you so much for keeping everything in line. Everybody contributed with your super chat. Never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you so much. Everybody contributed just your presence and your conversation. We are eternally grateful for that, guys. Thank you. And Dead Dodge. Oh, Jamie, I didn't mean to say nice things about you while you were still here. I'm sorry.
And all the brain power we had tonight was amazing.
Yes. And I'm going to think about that question because I really do want to give that a good answer. Because if I do drop that, I guess there should be something, right? All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to hit this out button, and that's it.
See you.
Sayonara.